Konbanwa. Going to talk today about Pride Month. It's a little early, I know, but the thing with Pride is you can't fit it all in 1 month. Each state has so many festivities that you need to space it out a little bit. And so I live in Massachusetts. And in Massachusetts, I believe the first Pride parade of the year is Hampshire Pride in Northampton, which I went to yesterday. And as is always true with Pride events, I think I got a little sunburn. So today I'm going to talk about Hampshire Pride and how it went, show some pictures, and why it is so important to go to Pride now, maybe more than it was for the last 5, 10 years. Okay, how's show? I'm gonna start by sharing my screen. This was my first time going to Hampshire Pride. I often go to Northampton. I don't know that I shared sound there. No, I did not. Let's do that again. Stop share. Share. Ooh, now with sound. So, the first time I went to Hampshire Pride was yesterday. And I had a blast. I invited the kids, and they both were like, "You wanna be there how long?" No, no, we'd rather stay home and hide. And well, they missed out on ice cream, missed out on ramen. There's a great ramen shop in Northampton. Also, there's a really cool video game arcade. I still have the stamp from paying for an all-day pass, $10 to play all video games for an hour. $20 to play all video games or any video game in their arcade for the whole day. They close at like 9. It was great. I did not stay till 9. I had to put myself to bed. So, Hampshire Pride, yeah. I think that this picture I mostly took because my friend Lorelai is in the front. This is so often as pride parades work, usually I think they call themselves the dyke bikers. I don't know. The lesbian bikers tend to start the parade. And so this was just a little after that. But the stilt walkers also really cool. So let's see what else. Oh, that's a snake. I'm going the wrong way. That's a milk snake in Vermont. It was so cute. It wanted to go inside. It was a little cold. There's Lorelai again. And the still walkers. So cool. And this is my shady spot, and yet I got sunburned. I had a nice shady spot to watch the Pride Parade. But it wasn't just a Pride Parade. So it was a parade for like an hour and a half. Very long parade for kind of middle of nowhere, Massachusetts. And I love this flag in here. This like the US flag, prideized. So, yeah, I stood near a tall building. The parade started at 11 o'clock, so I was able to stay in the shade for the parade. But after the parade, there were speakers and performers and lightning and thunder. Not in that order. The lightning and thunder was at the very end. The last hour was basically canceled. The drag performers had to call it in and all of the booths because yeah, the weather was bad. but just for that, like that last hour, because as you can see right here and right here, it was sunny when the parade was going on. Maybe going the wrong way. Okay, left is forward. Makes no sense whatsoever to me, but left is forward. I don't know why I took that picture. That's me yelling. I have no idea what band that was, but they were good. Again. And yeah, so there was a whole section in the parade for Palestine. That was cool. I I go to a weekly rally protest in a town next door to my town, and last week there were two old women that showed up and they got upset with the organizer because he was singing about Palestine, and they were like, this isn't about Palestine, this is about America and Trump. And he did a really great job of explaining how important it is for us to be inclusive and how, you know, we have to be there for everybody because if if there are people that are marginalized, if there are people that are not free, then really none of us are free. That is not freedom. So, yeah, so Palestine is important to me. Um, I would not want to play drums on a truck like that. That's freaky. Palestine, Palestine. I really love this sign. Come for one of us, face us all. That's the solidarity we need. Like thinking back to Pride 1.0, i.e. the Stonewall riot. So it was started by Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson, and they were so Marsha P. Johnson is trans Latina, and sorry, Sylvia Rivera is trans Latina. Marsha P. Johnson is a black was a black trans woman. She's unfortunately passed. And yeah, the for the first couple of years, they were kind of leading the whole Pride event and the riots and everything, and they were the first to, stand up and say no. Um, and then the white gay men kind of just like push them aside, push them aside. And things didn't really start being inclusive for trans people for quite a while, but when lesbians really started to be included, and in fact, the reason that it's called LGBTQIA+, the reason the L is in front, because it hasn't always been in front, it used to be GLB, is because of the AIDS crisis and all the lesbians that stepped up and took care of the men who were dying of AIDS. Oh, the wrong way again. I love this. Tradies for trans rights. So I took a picture of that. Um, I don't know what union it is, but they support trans rights. So awesome. Oh, here's me holding my I'm holding a trans flag. You can just see the blue. But yeah, it's a trans flag. Here's somebody with a sign, let trans athletes play. That was the expandable brass band. They were very good. And they played later during the rally, after the speakers. There was an adorable furry contingent. There was also a guy going around dressed as the Mandalorian because is today May 4th? Like it was, yeah, today's May 4th. Yesterday was May 3rd. So he was like, well, we have to represent Star Wars because tomorrow, May the 4th be with you. Wah, 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 wah. Anyway, he had a little baby Yoda in a little pouch with him. Adorable. So, I don't know why I took this picture. Oh, I think I was just trying to show the trade union people again. Got to dance
Get
along with them.
everybody, every place, everywhere, all simultaneously.
They had ASL interpreters, multiple ASL interpreters that would swap out between speakers, and that was awesome. Because again, if we're going to be inclusive, we need to be inclusive of everybody. And people who are deaf and queer should feel included at Pride events.
Get everybody, every place, everywhere, all simultaneously. They get everybody, every place, everywhere.
Here's my friend Lorelai speaking, and I've got a little video of her as well. Maybe? Oh, that's a picture. Video. You see the expandable brass band was gonna
Bring your community and your friends and your family, blood or chosen, in close. And as we circle the wagons, we need to be sure to reach out outside of our circle to other marginalized people, other people who are a threat to the immigrants who are being deported daily, to the sex workers who are always in danger and who are the reason we're here today. We need to reach out and we need to listen to what they tell us we need to do. Bring your...
So I obviously, maybe not obviously, I didn't record the whole speech. It's a really good speech. She had actually started talking mm, about fascism and how in prior talks she had talked about how fascism was on the doorstep. And now literally, yeah, it's here. We are in fascism. And let me tell you, for any fascists who might be watching this, uh, it didn't end well for Hitler. Um, didn't end well for Mussolini. Uh, yeah. Um, good luck with that. And yeah, while the speakers and performances were going on, there were actually two stages. And this was the the drag stage. And so this was, I mean, I think both stages were supposed to be kind of family friendly, but this one was, I think they had some drag story hour, and the Parasol Patrol was here. I don't see anybody in the Parasol Patrol, but let me get back to the Parasol Patrol. Is this the last picture? Bum, bum, bum. Yep, that's my cherry tree. Look at that. Most blossoms it's ever had. This is a dwarf cherry tree. And that's my fence where all my pride flags are going to go when it's June. So I'm going to stop sharing. Yeah, so Parasol Patrol, they are an awesome group that I think they were formed fairly recently. And the idea is they go to events like Drag Story Hour and drag performances and Pride events. And they are there with their parasols, their rainbow colored parasols. And if there are protesters, i.e., people that are homophobic, transphobic, whatever, people like the Proud Boys that show up at some of these events, especially in more conservative places. I did not see any people like that, fortunately, at this event. I have in Massachusetts seen those people show up. I think that the last time I saw them show up was like 2018, 2019 when we were rallying for Yes on 4, which was to protect trans rights. I could be wrong. That it was yes, and it was 4, but it was the one about protecting trans rights in Massachusetts. Don't even remember the year. Sorry for those of you who worked on that campaign. They're probably listening, but that was years ago. That was before the pandemic. So the Parasol Patrol shows up, and if there aren't those counter protesters or whatever, they just hang out. But if those, you know, MAGA people show up and are there, the Parasol Patrol forms a barrier and open their parasols so that the kids who are at these events hopefully only see the parasols. They don't see the hate. They don't see the people that sometimes, especially in states that have looser gun laws than Massachusetts, have guns. That they go to these events that the kids are at because they're worried about the safety of kids being indoctrinated. So you bring guns where there are kids? That that does not make people safer. What makes people safer is the Parasol Patrol being there. And I know you might be thinking, what about the police? In some respect, the police are neutral entities. Every police force is different. If you know anything about one police force, you know just about that one police force because they're all run locally. So while there might be some state training and stuff, like they're still each run locally by their local chief of police. And there are good police officers and there are bad police officers. There are many police officers that have persecuted queer, trans people for a very long time. I mean, that's how the Stonewall riot happened, is There were cops that wanted some money for Stonewall allowing queer people to be in their bar, and because the bar didn't pay up, they raided it, and they were looking for people that were wearing three or more articles of clothing that weren't based on the gender assigned at birth. And because that was illegal in New York in the 60s. So, Parasol Patrol. Unlike the police, at least in many places, the Parasol Patrol is really there to nonviolently protect children. And and also in this case, like they were there helping the drag artists when it started pouring. The Parasol Patrol provided their parasols to help the queens get out of the rain and into the the parking garage that was right next to where the stage was. So they're doing some really awesome work, and I wish I had found their booth. Unfortunately, I started looking after the rain started, and I could not find them. They probably already had packed up, but I was hoping to donate enough that I would have gotten a parasol because I do not have enough queer memorabilia. Uh, I have I have rainbow shoes. I have some pins. My jacket has I painted on the back of my jacket the trans symbol, and inside of the trans symbol the pan flag colors. But yeah, parasol would be cool. So I'm not going to go to every Pride event that happens in Massachusetts. Uh, Summer, it's not my season, least favorite season. But I was really glad I got to go to Hampshire Pride. They kicked off the Pride events for Massachusetts this year, and I'm looking forward to going to Worcester Pride, that I think is the last Pride event in the state, which is in September. So they bookend, as far as I know, the season here. And yeah, I don't know. Boston, I have gotten sunburn at Boston, and there's so many people. I don't know that I can handle that. But whether you're queer or not, showing up matters. Showing up at pride events, showing up at protests, carrying flags, being an ally, or if you're queer, like right now, it really matters, because we're here in solidarity. One of the speakers at the very start was, I believe, the founder of the Resists Northampton group, and she had people pass out pieces of paper that said do one thing, and it listed a bunch of things that you could do, and it's like take one action. Like, thank you for coming to Pride. Can you please take just one? There's many to pick from. Just take one action. I'm going to include a picture of those actions at the bottom below the video, so that I hope you also take one action. I have not looked through them, but this might actually end up counting as an action. I don't know. Maybe. But I'm definitely going to probably pick off more than one soon. So that is important. And yeah, supporting groups like the Parasol Patrol so that they can make safety a priority is important. Uh, talking to your friends that are queer, that are trans, that are non-binary. This is a really scary time to be in. There have been scarier times. When Stonewall happened, things were really bad. And there was a speaker who talked about how the first Hampshire Pride, which I think was in the 1990s, might have been a little earlier. In the first Hampshire Pride, people wore bags over their heads to hide their identity from their employers because they didn't want to get fired. So we've come forward, but we're shifting backwards. Another thing that I was really happy to see was that they definitely talked about immigrants and immigrant rights, and there was a petition for freeing a queer immigrant who has been captured, disappeared, sent to Guantanamo Bay by our administration. And it's not okay. I signed that petition. So, thank you for watching. I hope you get to some Pride events. I hope that you check in with your queer friends, your immigrant friends, your friends of color, see how they're doing, see what you can do to support them. If anything, maybe just be their friend, be there to listen. And again, the actions in the picture below this video, check them out. Please do at least one. Thank you. Johnny.